Across the globe, ghost stories have long been a part of folklore, offering chilling tales that reflect the beliefs and fears of different cultures. These stories, passed down through generations, often feature spirits, haunted places, and supernatural encounters. Below are a few famous ghost stories that have captivated audiences in various cultures. 7. The Banshee, Ireland. In Irish folklore, the banshee is a harbinger of death. This ghostly woman, often seen wailing or crying near the home of someone about to die, is a figure deeply rooted in Irish mythology. The banshee is described as a pale woman with long, flowing hair, sometimes dressed in white or gray, and her mournful wail is believed to foretell the death of a family member. Though fearsome, the banshee is not necessarily malevolent, but is seen more as a messenger of the inevitable. 8. The Yurei, Japan. Yurei are Japanese ghosts similar to Western concepts of restless spirits, typically souls unable to move on due to unresolved emotions or traumatic deaths. These spirits, often depicted in white burial clothes and with disheveled hair, are believed to haunt specific locations or individuals. Yurei are especially common in stories of betrayal or murder, such as the famous tale of Oiwa, who was poisoned by her husband and returned as a vengeful spirit. The Yurei has become a staple of Japanese horror, inspiring countless films and stories. 9. The Huli Jing, China. The Huli Jing, or fox spirit, is a well-known figure in Chinese folklore. While not a ghost in the traditional sense, the Huli Jing is a supernatural being capable of shapeshifting, often into a beautiful woman. These spirits are both feared and revered for their cunning and magical abilities. Some tales portray the Huli Jing as malevolent, leading men astray, while others describe them as protectors or wise beings. The fox spirit's ambiguous nature reflects China's long history of storytelling about mystical creatures. 10. The Bell Witch, United States. The Bell Witch is an American ghost story rooted in the early 19th century, centering on the Bell family of Tennessee. According to legend, the family was tormented by a malevolent spirit, which could speak, move objects, and even physically harm them. The spirit, often referred to as the Bell Witch, supposedly caused the death of John Bell, the family's patriarch. This story has become one of the most famous haunting tales in American folklore, inspiring books, films, and even ghost hunting expeditions. These diverse ghost stories illustrate how cultures around the world interpret the supernatural, often using these tales to explain the unknown, impart moral lessons, or warn against dangerous behavior. Though rooted in different traditions, each story shares a common thread of mystery, fear, and the human fascination with what lies beyond death. 1. The White Lady, Europe. In many European countries, particularly Germany and Ireland, there are legends of the White Lady, a ghostly figure often dressed in a flowing white gown. She is said to haunt old castles, forests, and roads, usually appearing to those who are lost or in need. The White Lady is often believed to be the spirit of a woman who died tragically, typically from heartbreak or betrayal. Her presence is sometimes seen as a warning of death or misfortune. 2. The Headless Horseman, United States. The legend of the Headless Horseman originates from Washington Irving's famous short story The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, but similar stories have appeared in other cultures. In this tale, a ghostly rider, headless and often seeking revenge, haunts a small village in New York. The story is set in the late 18th century and combines elements of both European folklore and early American superstition. 3. Kukusekana, Japan. Kukusekana, or the Slit-Mouthed Woman, is a famous Japanese ghost story that tells of a woman whose mouth was mutilated by her jealous husband. In the tale, she appears to unsuspecting victims, usually at night, and asks them if they think she is beautiful. Regardless of the answer, the encounter often ends with violence. This chilling story reflects Japan's rich tradition of urban legends and ghost stories known as kaiden. 4. La Llorona, Latin America. La Llorona, or the Weeping Woman, is a well-known ghost story in Latin American cultures. The tale tells of a woman who, in a fit of grief or rage, drowned her children and now roams near bodies of water, crying and searching for them. According to legend, her wails are an omen of death, and those who hear her are at risk of misfortune. La Llorona's story is often used as a cautionary tale for children, warning them to stay close to home and away from dangerous waters. 5. Churls, India. In Indian folklore, the churel is a vengeful female spirit, often depicted as the ghost of a woman who died during childbirth or due to mistreatment by her family. These spirits are said to have backward-facing feet and long, disheveled hair. Churls are believed to haunt lonely places and target men, especially those who have wronged women. The legend of the channuil reflects deep cultural themes of gender roles, power, and justice. These ghost stories, with their cultural variations and supernatural elements, continue to intrigue and terrify people around the world. They offer a glimpse into how different societies interpret the unknown, often blending local beliefs, history, and fear into captivating tales of the paranormal. In Caribbean folklore, the duppy is a malevolent spirit often associated with mischief or harm. Originating from African traditions, the belief in duppies is especially strong in Jamaica. These spirits are said to emerge at night, haunting people who have wronged them or disturbing grave sites. Duppies can take many forms, from shadowy figures to animals, and they are thought to be the spirits of the dead who haven't found peace. Rituals and protective practices are often employed to keep them away. In South African folklore, the tokoloshe is a malevolent dwarf-like creature that causes trouble and harm. It is believed that witch doctors summon tokoloshes to terrorize people, often by crawling into their homes at night. These beings are said to be invisible to some, and they can bring illness, misfortune, or even death. People often elevate their beds to avoid an attack by the tokoloshe, as it is believed they can only reach so high. This creature embodies a mix of supernatural fear and protective measures in Zulu culture. 17. The Samadiva, Bulgaria. The Samadiva, or woodland fairy, is a mystical spirit from Bulgarian folklore, often depicted as a beautiful, but deadly, maiden dressed in white. Samadivas are believed to inhabit forests and mountains. While they are not traditionally ghostly figures, they have a supernatural nature and are known to lure men to their death or curse those who intrude on their territory. In some stories, Samadivas help lost travelers, while in others, they cause chaos and misfortune, blending elements of both benevolence and danger in Bulgarian mythology. 18. The Pisacha, India. In Hindu folklore, the Pisacha is a malevolent spirit associated with darkness, death, and chaos. They are said to haunt cremation grounds and cemeteries, possessing people or driving them mad. Pisachas are often depicted as grotesque, shape-shifting creatures, representing a terrifying force of evil. In some traditions, rituals and offerings are performed to appease these spirits and ward off their influence. The Pisacha embodies the fear of death and the unknown, often serving as a warning to stay away from dark or haunted places. 19. The Mapinguari, Amazon rainforest. The Mapinguari is a legendary creature in the folklore of indigenous tribes of the Amazon rainforest, often described as a giant, ape-like being with a single eye and a large mouth on its stomach. The Mapinguari is said to guard the forest and attack those who dare to enter its territory. While not exactly a ghost, the Mapinguari is viewed as a supernatural guardian of the wild, punishing those who disrespect nature. Its legend reflects the deep connection between indigenous cultures and the natural world, blending the boundaries between the physical and spiritual realms. 20. The Ankou, Brittany, France. In the folklore of Brittany, a region in France, the Ankou is a skeletal figure who serves as a harbinger of death. He is often depicted as an old man with a scythe, driving a cart to collect the souls of the dead. Unlike other ghostly figures, the Ankou is not malevolent but simply performs his grim duty of guiding the dead to the afterlife. His legend emphasizes the inevitability of death and serves as a reminder of mortality. The Ankou is deeply embedded in Breton culture, often appearing in stories, songs, and local art. These ghostly beings and supernatural entities showcase the diversity of how cultures interpret the paranormal and the afterlife. Through these stories, societies explore deep-rooted fears, moral dilemmas, and cultural values, often blending the real and the otherworldly in fascinating and spine-chilling ways. 12. The Skandhokata, Bangladesh. The Skandhokata, a ghost from Bangladeshi folklore, is a headless spirit believed to be the soul of someone who died in an accident, particularly by decapitation. It is said that these spirits roam restlessly in search of their lost heads, haunting those who encounter them at night. People believe that the Skandhokata can attack or possess humans, so rituals and prayers are often used to protect against these ghostly apparitions. The fear of these spirits reflects anxieties surrounding untimely deaths and improper burials. 13. The Myling, Scandinavia. In Scandinavian folklore, the Myling is the spirit of an unbaptized child who has been left to die in the wilderness. These restless souls are believed to haunt the places where they perished, often seeking help to be laid to rest. According to the legend, They will sometimes appear to travelers and ask to be carried to a graveyard. If the traveler agrees, the child grows heavier as they approach the burial site. Failure to reach the graveyard can result in the death of the traveler. The myling is a chilling representation of guilt and the consequences of neglecting the vulnerable. 14. The Draugr, Norse mythology. The Draugr is a ghostly figure from Norse mythology, often depicted as a reanimated corpse with supernatural strength. Unlike typical ghosts, Draugr are corporeal beings that protect their treasure or exact revenge on those who wronged them in life. They are known to haunt gravesites and attack those who come near. The Draugr is often seen as a symbol of greed and vengeance, and its tale has parallels in Viking sagas and folklore, making it a lasting image of the undead in Scandinavian mythology. 15. The Jinn, Middle East. In Islamic and Middle Eastern folklore, jinn, or jinn, are supernatural beings created from smokeless fire. Though not strictly ghosts, they occupy a world parallel to humans and can be good, evil, or neutral. Some jinn are believed to haunt or possess people, causing illness, bad luck, or other misfortunes. Believers often protect themselves from malevolent jinn through prayers, charms, or rituals. These beings have a complex role in Islamic culture, where they can either assist or cause harm to humans, blending mythology with religious teachings. These ghostly figures and supernatural beings highlight the universal nature of ghost stories and their role in expressing cultural fears, moral lessons, and the unknown. Each legend, with its unique features and origins, captures the imagination, illustrating the rich diversity in how different cultures interpret life, death, and the supernatural. In Southeast Asian folklore, particularly in Malaysia and Indonesia, the Pontianak is a vengeful female spirit that appears after a woman dies during childbirth. She is often depicted as a beautiful woman with long black hair and a pale face, luring men to their doom. Pontianaks are said to live in banana trees and emerge at night to seek revenge by attacking and consuming their victims. They symbolize the fear of death during childbirth and are used in cautionary tales about the dangers of mistreating women. The Wendigo is a terrifying spirit from the folklore of various Native American tribes, particularly the Algonquin-speaking peoples. It is described as a monstrous creature with an insatiable hunger for human flesh, often associated with cold winters and famine. According to legend, the Wendigo was once human but turned into a monster after resorting to cannibalism. It is said to haunt the forests, preying on the weak or those who venture into its domain. The Wendigo symbolizes greed, cannibalism, and the dangers of losing one's humanity, serving as a warning against giving in to selfish or desperate desires. The Naparabo, or faceless ghost, is a mysterious figure from Japanese folklore. This ghost appears as a normal human being at first, but upon closer inspection, its face is completely smooth, with no eyes, nose, or mouth. It is known for startling travelers, revealing its blank face suddenly after a brief conversation. The Naparabo does not harm its victims physically but frightens them psychologically. This ghost reflects the cultural fascination with eerie and unexpected encounters, embodying the unsettling fear of the unknown and the loss of identity. The Bhut is a general term for ghosts in Indian folklore. These spirits are believed to be the souls of people who died untimely or violent deaths and have not found peace. Bhuts are often depicted as restless, malevolent beings who haunt the living, especially in places like cemeteries, abandoned buildings, or near water. They are believed to have reversed feet, giving away their supernatural nature. Bhuts can possess people or cause misfortune, and rituals or offerings are often used to appease or exorcise them. The concept of the Bhut represents the fear of death, unresolved issues, and the idea of life after death. The Ghee is a spectral figure in Mexican folklore that takes the form of a giant, ghostly ox or bull. It is believed to haunt deserted roads and open fields, appearing suddenly to travelers at night. The Ghee is said to charge at people, only to disappear at the last moment, leaving them terrified but unharmed. This creature is often seen as a trickster spirit, playing on the fears of those who encounter it. The legend of the Ghee reflects the connection between the supernatural and the natural world, often serving as a warning to respect the wilderness. In Navajo folklore, the Chindi is the ghost left behind by a deceased person, representing the most negative aspects of their personality. After death, the Chindi lingers to bring misfortune or illness to the living. Navajo tradition teaches that one should avoid a dead person's home or possessions to prevent being cursed by the Chindi. This belief emphasizes the importance of cleansing rituals and respecting the dead to avoid spiritual contamination. The chindi serves as a symbol of unresolved negativity, representing the idea that parts of a person's spirit can remain and cause harm if not properly laid to rest. The Nuclavi is a terrifying sea-dwelling creature from Scottish folklore, especially the Orkney Islands. It is described as a grotesque hybrid of a horse and a human, with skinless flesh, revealing its muscles and veins. This nightmarish being is believed to bring disease and devastation to crops and livestock. The Nuclavi is feared for its malevolence and wrath, as it cannot be reasoned with or appeased. It only retreats when confronted with fresh water, which it cannot cross. This creature reflects the deep connection between the Scottish people and the sea, as well as the fears associated with the destructive forces of nature. In Balkan folklore, the Babaroga, also known as Babaroga or Baba Yaga in Slavic traditions, is an old witch-like spirit that is feared for stealing children at night. She hides in dark corners or under beds. The Puchin is a shape-shifting creature from the mythology of the Mapuche people in Chile. This terrifying being is said to appear as a giant snake or winged serpent that can paralyze its victims with its gaze. The Puchin is often considered a vampire-like spirit, draining the blood of animals or humans it encounters. It is believed to haunt the countryside, and shamans are called upon to exorcise or protect people from its attacks. The Puchin represents fear of the unknown and the dangers lurking in the wilderness. Jur Grando was a real-life figure in the 17th century who became the subject of vampire legends in Istria, Croatia. After his death, it was rumored that he had become a vampire, returning from the grave to torment his village by knocking on doors at night, with the chosen household soon suffering a death. Locals eventually exhumed his body and drove a stake through his heart to put an end to the terror. This story is one of the earliest documented vampire legends in Europe and remains a haunting tale of fear and superstition. In Native American folklore, particularly among the Cherokee, the Akari is the ghost of a little girl who brings illness and death to those she encounters. She is said to appear on mountaintops and descends at night to spread disease, often targeting children. Protective charms, such as red thread, are traditionally used to keep the Akari at bay. This legend represents the fear of illness, especially in children, and serves as a reminder of the fragility of life in earlier times. The Draug, also known as a Draugr in Norse mythology, is a reanimated corpse that haunts graves and protects its treasure. In Icelandic folklore, the Draug is more than just a ghost. It is a malevolent creature with physical form, often attacking or cursing those who disturb its resting place. It is said that Draugr have superhuman strength and can change their size at will. The legend of the Draug reflects themes of greed, revenge, and the dangers of disturbing the dead, common elements in Norse tales. The Tiyanak is a malevolent creature from Philippine folklore that takes the form of a crying baby. It lures travelers deep into the forest by imitating the cries of an infant. When someone picks up the Tiyanak, it transforms into a hideous monster and attacks its victim. The legend of the Tiyanak is often seen as a cautionary tale, warning people not to be deceived by appearances. It also reflects the cultural fear of being misled by supernatural beings and the vulnerability of those who seek to help the innocent.